how have you come to think about the concept of productivity and its constituent parts? Have you got any tools, any strategies, tactics that you use to kind of drop yourself into a productive state and stay there?
Yeah, so I do all the things that I profess, at the level of the basics: morning sunlight, non-sleep deep rest if I didn't get enough sleep, physiological size when I need to bring my level of autonomic arousal, aka stress, down. These are all things I've talked about. 3 days a week of cardiovascular training, 3 days a week of resistance training, 1 day a week of deliberate cold, deliberate heat minimum, usually on the day after leg day. I do all that stuff. And it creates a structure. And yes, it takes some time. And a lot of that stuff can be combined, with consumption of podcasts and audiobooks at the same time and social time. But for me, the process of writing, and I'm working on a book now, but also just the creative process has been greatly enhanced, and productivity overall, by setting in this 20-minute period where I force myself to just stop and have deliberate thoughts that are within a single context. I don't let my mind wander. So it's very different than maybe the psilocybin journey where
it sounds to me a little bit like active meditation, or kind of like narrative meditation in a way. You're forcing your mind to come back to you're not just allowing yourself to branch off onto a new thought. Okay, here I am. This is the trunk of the tree, and I'm going to try and follow this trunk as high as I can.
Right.
What about, you're sitting down at the desk, you have the research to do, the emails to write, the whatever. What have you got tactically in terms of a priming or a structure for that specific situation?
Yeah, I used handwritten sticky notes, and I'll put the thing that I'm supposed to do, and I'll keep looking at it because I'm amazed at how often my mind will flit to other things. So it's like, oh, I have to transfer some money to somebody that I owe them, or I have to pay that bill, or the number of excuses that leap to mind is outrageous for everybody, unless we're under deadline, fear, or extremely rare, but high motivational states because we just simply love it. So I give myself 5 minutes or so to break into the work, or 5 to 10 minutes. I don't expect full focus in that first 5 to 10 minutes. But here's what I tell myself, because I know from 30 plus years of experience, the feeling that I'm going to get after I complete something, having really had to push against the grain to force my attention back to that thing, the feeling of having accomplished even a 1 hour bout of work is so incredibly rewarding for me. And the feeling of having done basically nothing is such an incredible sense of disappointment and lack of life, such a vitality drain for me. I'm not as hard on myself as I gather some people out there are. Like David Goggins talks about his self-talk and how he can be very hard on himself at times. But mine isn't like that. But I know how great it's going to feel when I get to the...
So you're projecting forward the reward that you're going to feel and trying to bring that into the now. That's very smart. I've got written on I've got two fridge whiteboards. The other is, what would you tomorrow want you today to do?
Right.
And that to me is it's like a panacea for avoiding bad decisions. Because you live with the story that you tell yourself about the decision for way longer than the enjoyment or lack of the decision. There is a cookie on the table. I promised myself I wouldn't eat it, and I make a decision about whether or not I eat the cookie. There is either enjoyment or reward, enjoyment in eating it, or reward of satisfaction of discipline for not eating it. That happens now. But what's really important is the story that I tell myself tomorrow about being the sort of person that is a cookie eater or is not a cookie eater. And I think that framing that we place around the present moment largely determines our experience of it. And I find myself trying to live for future Chris more. And the more that I do that, the better that my life seems to get. There are very few situations in which I make a decision today that I tomorrow would have wanted me to, that turn out to be the wrong decision. And that projecting forward, how am I going to feel in future? This is difficult now.